Hi guys, it's Laura here, and I know I haven't been around very much this summer. I've just been really busy and I've been meaning to check in, so I just thought today I would take a minute just to post a check-in video, let you know how things are going with my reading life, where I am, and what I am going to be reading the next few months, and let's get into it. All right, so I have read probably at least 16 books or so since the last time I really posted a wrap up, and at this point I feel like that's just too many for one video. So if I was going to do a summer wrap up video and talk about all the books I read, and I just thought that would take forever and it wouldn't really do justice to the really good books and it would just get kind of muddied. So I'm not really sure exactly how I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll post like a top 10 video with just the top 10 titles in my opinion for the summer, and then just a brief summary. I'll see. That should be forthcoming hopefully soon. Other than that, I am currently reading I think 5 books right now that are not finished, and so I thought I would share those with you. The first book I'm reading, I have been reading for a few months now. It's Written in My Own Heart's Blood by Diana Gabaldon. That is the 8th and final book so far of the Outlander series, and this takes place during the Revolutionary War, and a lot of the action is around the Philadelphia and New York area because of course the Frasers are going to be involved in the Revolutionary War. So I'm following along to see where that's going. I'm not going to give too many spoilers because like I said, it's the 8th book in the series and I don't want to ruin the series for people who haven't read that far, but it is one of my favorite books of the series, and I'm about 60% through it now. It's another long one, as all the Outlander books are, so it's taken a while, but I'm just slowly plodding along on that one. This is a book that I own on my Kindle, and so I don't feel as rushed to get it finished in a certain amount of time, whereas a lot of the books I read are library books, and so they have a deadline, so I kind of prioritize those. So whenever I'm in between books or when I have some time, I'll read a little bit of the Outlander book. But that's the first book that I've been working on. The next book that I'm working on is an audio book, and this is from the library, and it's due back in just a couple of days, and so I'm planning to finish it really soon. It's called Things You Save in a Fire by Catherine Center, and it's a relatively new book from this summer. It's about a woman firefighter she's from Austin, Texas, where she has become a really successful firefighter there, but then because of health issues with her mother, she's asked to move to Boston to stay with her mother. So she has to quit her job in Texas and move to a fire department in the Boston area. And the people in this new fire station are much more traditional. They don't like the idea of a female firefighter. There's that, and of course there's a romance involved, and there are issues between her and her mom. So it's really interesting. I'm probably 75% done, and like I said, I'm going to have it finished in the next couple of days, and we'll see how I feel about that one. I have to say right now, I haven't finished the book yet, so I hesitate to make a final call on it, but the misogyny in this book is really making it difficult for me. It's hard for me. I mean, I understand that it's for a purpose. It's to build the characters and the setting so that we know a source of a lot of the conflict, but reading this it really rubs me the wrong way, and at some points it's hard for me to even keep going with it because of that. So I'm really hoping that the author redeems it by the end of the book, but it's hard. It's really hard. The next book I'm reading is a library book in print form. It is A Place for Us by Fatima Farhim Mirza, and this has been a lot on BookTube. This was, I think it was maybe published in 2018, I'm not sure. This is a story of an Indian American family living in California who are Muslim, and it's basically from the different points of view of the children and their growing up experience. They were born here, but their parents were not, and they're still very much raised in that culture of the immigrant culture, and there's a struggle for the kids between living in their culture from their family, but then also adapting to the American culture that they're growing up in and finding their own way, which is kind of a mixture between those two cultures. And so far it's really good. It's especially interesting to look at the the boy's point of view and how he's handling it all. And that being said, the oldest daughter, his sister, is somebody that I really relate to. As the oldest daughter myself, there are things within the family relationship that I recognize, and that I think they must be universal, because it's definitely something that resonates with me. The next book that I'm reading is something I picked up at the library. This is not a new book. It's been out a couple of years, and I had been meaning to look at it, but it was not a high priority. But when I saw that it was available, I thought I would grab it. Actually, I don't think it's been I said a couple of years. I think it's actually 2018, so it's maybe a little over a year. This is The Bullet Journal Method by Ryder Carroll. This is a nonfiction book about the method to use a bullet journal as your planner, basically to organize your life. And I've seen a lot of people, there have been some booktubers that use this. I have been a bullet journaler for about 2.5 years now. I've been doing it. And so I'm really pretty familiar with the concept, how it works and everything. But I wanted to check out this book just to see if there are any ideas of things I can do to tweak my use of my bullet journal. I cannot go through my life without my bullet journal at this point. It is a way for me to put all the different aspects of my life together in one place and keep everything organized so that I remember to do the things that I need to do when I need to do them, so that things don't get forgotten, because it got to the point, life is just so busy that I was forgetting to do things. Things would go months before I would remember to do something. And so the bullet journal has really helped me to stay on top of things more. Anyway, I got this book just so that I could see, what else is out there. What else can I be doing with my bullet journal? This is a library book, but I'm thinking, depending on how it goes, I might order it, because this looks like something that I would probably want to own and mark up and use and refer back to often. And the last book that I'm reading right now, I'm reading with my husband in the car when we ride to work together. And so we like to either listen to an audiobook together, or I'll read. He'll drive and I'll read. And right now, because it's October, we decided Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is the way to go. We just started it, not too far into it, although it isn't a very long book. It's less than 200 pages. I'm really excited to read it because I'm familiar with the story. So I kind of have an overall idea, but this is the real deal. This is the original, and I'm curious to see how it's portrayed. And so far, the language is very different. It's very old. It was written in 1816? I don't know. Early 1800s, and so the language is kind of archaic compared to what we're used to now. It's not conversational for now at all. And so we'll read it in the car, and sometimes we just have to stop and take a break because it takes a little bit to get it to sink in. But I'm really enjoying it so far. Meanwhile, my husband cannot stop comparing it or thinking of Young Frankenstein with Gene Wilder, which is a movie that we watch every Halloween. It's like the Frankenstein movie, according to our family. So in the end, we're probably going to be comparing it, and rather than comparing it to the original Frankenstein movie, which I would like to do too, we'll probably compare it to Young Frankenstein. So that's up for October as our commute read. I have some other plans for October also. I picked up on my Kindle Halloween Party, which is an Agatha Christie book. Now, I say Agatha Christie, but I have to say I'm not really sure if she actually wrote this, because I understand that after her death, her family has agreed to let a certain group of other people write under her name in the style of Agatha Christie. And I'm not really sure which titles are which as far as what did she write and what did she not write. And Halloween Party is one I'm not sure about. If you know, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I thought Halloween Party sounded really good for this time of the year, so I have that to read at some point this month. Then also, I bought this several months ago, and I've been putting it off until October to read, and that's Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I've seen several people who have also been doing the same thing, decided to read that this month. I'm not real big on thrillers and horror and that kind of thing, so for Halloween, I'm not really into slasher kind of find out who's killing. I don't like that kind of stuff. It just upsets me too much. And I have nightmares, and I think I wake up in the night thinking I hear people outside my window, and I can't do that. So I have to kind of tone it down. But I still like reading things that have the atmosphere of the fall and Halloween. And so I have a feeling that that's what this is. This is a kind of a gothic story about a woman who, this is all I know so far, a woman who marries a man and goes back to live in his house, but when she gets there, she discovers that the staff of the house is still very much belonging to the previous wife who has died. And so I don't know if she haunts the house or if it's just the staff wishes she was still there, or I'm not really sure exactly, but I understand that it's a really gripping story, and so I thought this would be a good time of year for that. So that's on the calendar for October as well. Speaking of what's on the calendar, I have decided to kind of really cut back on the TBRs because it doesn't really work for me. I've realized, first of all, I'm a mood reader, and if I'm not in the mood to read something, I'm not going to pick it up. Or if I suddenly get the urge to read something that I hadn't planned, I want to pick that up instead. And so planning ahead for reading just doesn't work for me. But there are a few books that, like Rebecca and Halloween Party and Frankenstein, that I picked out that I want to read. But then there will be other books that I read just on a whim. And also, I'm really kind of beholden to my library. This is what happened over the summer a lot, is that I had placed all of these books on hold from my library, and then they all came in at the same time. So because I only have them for a short amount of time, I have to bump them up in my reading schedule. So I'm reading books according to when the library holds come in and not when I chose to read them. So setting up a TBR is just not going to work because it's going to end up, I'm not going to read the books after all, so why bother? So I'm putting that on hold. I will pick a few books like for October, and then in November I plan to read at least one nonfiction book because abookolive has just announced I think it's 5th annual Nonfiction November challenge, which is coming up in November, and that's where she challenges you. She, and I think she might co-host with some other people, challenge you to read more nonfiction in November than what you would normally read. So like if you don't read nonfiction at all, then if you read one nonfiction book in November, then you've met the challenge. Or if you read nonfiction regularly, just reading a few more than what you normally would. I read nonfiction, but not a lot. I tend to find like it feels more like studying or work than for fun. And so I tend toward fiction more, but I do want to participate in this, and I do have some books that I want to read, and I think I'm going to do a video about possible reads. I'm not going to commit myself and say that I will definitely read them, but I will share the few that I'm thinking about reading in November. But like I said, I'm going to keep things looser as far as TBRs go in the future, and also wrap-ups. Because of this summer, I was busy with my schedule. I can only do booktube things, either recording or editing on the weekend. And my schedule has just been too busy. I haven't been able to do it. And then when I did have time to do it, I was so exhausted that I didn't want to do it. I just wanted to rest. So that's part of the problem I've run into. I am going to probably post less frequently than I had hoped, but more frequently than I have been. And I'm going to maybe stretch time periods out longer. I've seen some people do it quarterly or by the season rather than by the month. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I do want to do check-ins because I like talking about the books that I'm reading, and I would love to hear what books you're reading or what you're planning to read. So please comment down below and let me know what are you reading this fall, now that we're getting into fall. If you have any other ideas about videos I should post based on what I've said today, please let me know that as well. I'd like to hear that. I think that's about all I have for today. I just wanted to give a quick check-in and let you know how I was doing, and I will be back soon, I hope. I'll talk to you again later. Bye.